कबीर कला कबीर कला मंच या CD बुकिंगला मला इथे यायला मला नंतर मी माझं गौरव केलेलं आहे त्याच्यावर मी फार आभारी आहे. इट्स अ ग्रेट ऑनर. मी कबीर कला मंचबद्दल तुम्ही बघितलं मला I came to know about it only when I saw Anand's film on television. And since then I was very excited about it. आणि त्यामुळं रामानं जेव्हा सांगितलं की तू येशील का, तू येऊन हे रिलीज करशील का विचारल्याबरोबर मी म्हटलं हो येईन. कारण पुष्कळ कारण आहे, एकच नव्हे तर there are several things. One is because Ramu and Anand are involved and I know they have been involved with very good work for a long time. Secondly, because मी कन्नड माणूस असलो, मी बेंगळूरमध्ये राहिलो तरी कुठेतरी माझा एक भाग महाराष्ट्रीयनच आहे. मी इथंच जन्मलो, माथेरानमध्ये जन्मलो इथंच. अँड आय वॉज ग्रेटली इन्फ्लुएन्स. आणि हे मी मागं कित्येकदा सांगितलेलं आहे की लहानपणी आय वॉज ग्रेटली इन्फ्लुएन्स्ड बाय द मराठी इंटेलेक्च्युअल्स. 19th century महाराष्ट्र प्रोड्यूस सम व्हेरी ग्रेट इंटेलेक्च्युअल. टिळक, आगरकर, आंबेडकर, फुले सगळे. आणि कर्नाटकात त्या प्रकार काहीच झालेलं नाही. There was no equivalent movement because Kannada was dominated by the Mysore state, which was dominated in turn by the colonial regime and so on. So very little happened. त्यामुळे माझी जी बौद्धिक growth I think that is entirely because of Marathi, for which I am grateful. त्यामुळे and I have been associated, I am glad to say, with many radical movements in Maharashtra. I knew poets like Survey. I was very close to people like Sharad Patil or Dhule, whose book is getting released, and it has been to me a source of continual inspiration. Third, of course, and this is most important, and this is getting, हे आजकालच्या भारतात unfortunately it's becoming important, is that we artists now have to stick together. When you hear that some कलाकारच्या विरुद्ध काहीतरी अन्याय होतोय तरी तत्क्षणी आम्हाला त्याला रिॲक्ट करायलाच हवं, नाहीतर दिस इज ओनली ग्रो. अँड दिस इज व्हेरी सॅड. आय डोंट बिलॉंग टू एनी पॉलिटिकल पार्टी. म्हणजे कुठल्याही राजकीय पक्षाचा मेंबर नाही आहे. अँड आय हॅव नथिंग अगेन्स्ट द पोलीस. Also, I was reported in the press as saying that I was here to talk about the atrocities. Atrocities मला माहिती नाही. I don't know to talk about the atrocities because काय होतं किंवा भाषा तापट होते किंवा भडक शब्द आम्ही उपयोग करतो आणि मग the logic goes out to the whole situation. Me, I have been a government servant. I have taken many government positions in academy इथं पुण्याला film institute वगैरे, and I know the problems, and I know the problems in a place like India, where today's criminals become tomorrow's politicians. I know the problems that police face because the kind of pressures they are put to how lawfully can they apply law. कारण आज ज्यांना ते अरेस्ट करते, आज ज्यांना ते शिक्षा देते, तेच उद्या त्यांचे मास्क होऊन त्यांच्यावरून बसतात, त्यांच्या डोक्यावरून बसतात. So I know the problem, but I think it's essential for those of us to realize one thing. We have a beautiful constitution, we have a beautiful democracy of which we are proud, but unfortunately many of our laws go back to the 19th century. And where the laws don't go back to the 19th century, the mentality goes back to the 19th century. And this is one example, the prevention of anti-social activity. I was surprised to hear that it was introduced in 1967 because really it sounds like something that the British would have introduced in the 1880s. Because look at the name, unlawful activity. The prevention of unlawful activity, that itself has 3 negatives in it. एक म्हणजे unlawful. लॉफुल काय आहे सगळ्यांना ठीक, म्हणजे हे इट्स व्हेरी इझी कारण लॉफुल असतं, क्वालिफाईड असतं. अनलॉफुल मग ते ठरवणार कोण, कारण त्याच्यावर काही लॉज नसतात. बिकॉज यू कॅन्ट हॅव लॉज अबाउट अनलॉफुल ॲक्टिव्हिटीज. अनलॉफुल ऑलरेडी बिकम्स समथिंग अँड देन देर इज प्रिव्हेन्शन बिकॉज बिफोर इट हॅपन्स यू आर ऑलरेडी डिसाइडिंग दॅट दिस इज गोइंग टू हॅपन. And as a point that was made by Mr. Desai, Mr. Parakar and Reddy, is himsa nako. आम्हाला हिंसा नको. And when himsa होते, when there is violence, certainly it should be prevented. But when someone decides beforehand, हिंसा होणार आहे की नाही, at least they must prove that it is going to happen. And just on the basis of suspicion, to take preventive action is the most dreadful way that any society can exist. पहला परिणाम काय होतो की it causes fear. It causes fear in the society. It's not the gundas who are causing fear. It's not the terrorists. It's not the Maoists that are causing fear. It's the police who are causing fear. Because they are telling you are surrounded by fear. तो Maoist है, तो terrorist है. Here you have an example of people who just sang songs and they are suddenly there as enemies of the state. Now, the question then arises की आमचा समाज, आमची राजकीय व्यवस्था काही इतकी मोडकळीला आलेली आहे का? Is it so fragile that 2 songs can just bring it down like that? It's going to collapse. You know that you've got to put them into prison and say, don't sing anymore. But it shows the lack of sense of security that the authorities have in India. And thereby they spread that sense of authority because then they pick up enemies. It is incumbent therefore, even when I say your prevention of unlawful activity, in any civilized society, the law and the state should give the benefit of doubt to the citizen, not to the lawmakers, not to the police. It's not for the police to say, I feel it. You must give the citizen his right to show that it is very sad. What is sad about this kind of thing and other things that are related. The Vinayak Sen is another example. And of course the great farce that the Maharashtra government created of Asim, where, some Vyangachitrikar was actually accused of bringing the whole state down. Now this kind of, it verges on the ridiculous, but it's not on the ridiculous because someone is affected and it creates a feeling of fear among those who are created. You see, because Chirag once said, Swaraj Maza Janma Siddha Hak hai. But I think any democratic person can say, Vidroha Maza Janma Siddha Hak hai.
Yes.
I will protest. If I create violence, if I affect someone else's independence, then of course you take action. Then you can say that, don't do it. He has his rights, you have your rights come to an end with the other man's rights. But just by saying that I have the right to say, you can't say to me, stop it, that you're bringing the society down. And I'm afraid that this is becoming the policy increasingly of the state, and this is something that we have got to watch against. I'm very grateful to you all for having invited me here, and let me say that anything I can do to get these people out of the jail, to fight their case, I'll be very happy to do. Thank you very much.